So it's, crazy stuff's going on, and people are getting down on themselves, and they don't have as much money, and they don't have, seem like things aren't going so good and stuff, and so I just want to let you know that you're nothing special.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Saturday, September 5th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and joining us live here on the weekend, we got Tass Mellis.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Tassie. We got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey, yo. We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on YouTube and or listening to the podcast a little bit later in the day. I wanted to say happy Derby Day to everybody out there. Oh, the big Kentucky Derby is racing today. I'm a little disappointed. Nobody's got a crazy, cool, funky hat on.
I guess I didn't even know that the Kentucky Derby was today, but good luck to all the horses. What do you say? Run fast.
Good luck to all the horses, I believe is what they say. Yeah. I got my eye on Storm the Court, 21-1 odds. I mean, it's got a basketball vibe to the name, so I'm going Storm the Court, the number 4 yellow horse. Who you like, Tass?
Oh, that's the first name I've heard of. Good luck to that named horse. I was just you brought this back in my brain because usually this is run earlier in the summer, right? Spring, summer, but they delayed it to September the 5th. So.
Yeah.
And back then, I remember seeing that date, and I thought, well, maybe we could venture on down there. It'll definitely have fans by then, right? Guess not.
No. Actually, I just heard that all of the fans in the stands are going to be other horses. That's fine. It works for them.
Did you hear the horses can bring one family member?
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay.
Only in the second round. Only the horses that make the second round of the Derby.
All right. I just looked at the lineup. I don't know what you call a horse Derby schedule. The lineup. There's another basketball name here, so I'm going with Max Player. A 15-1 odds choice here at the 2 spot. What does that mean? He's at the 2 spot. Second one in.
Yeah, is that good or bad? Do you want to be inside rail or outside? I don't know.
I don't want to get caught up.
Lee, do you know anything about horse racing? You're Australian.
Well, not so much about the Kentucky Derby, but I've got the field here as well. So I'm going to go with my man Richard Branson. There's Necker Island at 85-1.
All right.
So, I thought you'd go with Max Player Special there. No?
Yeah.
Money moves. I don't mind money moves. Or that could be Money Mellis, I suppose.
Yeah, I can take that. I'll take that.
Sure. Yeah. All right. JD, you got any picks? You got it in front of you?
Yeah, give me Mr. Big News. I'm a big Mr. Big fan.
All right, good luck to all the horses today. I actually had to look it up when I was going to, throw this out at you guys. It said a couple, beside the horse's name, SCR. I was like, what? By where their odds would be normally. I was like, what does that mean? I guess it means scratch. So I think a couple of these horses have been scratched. So unfortunately, no good luck to those horses. I don't know what's going on.
Get healthy to those horses.
Yes, get healthy for sure. All right, keep your questions and your comments coming for the next Beach Steppin' podcast next week. Email them in nodunks@theathletic.com or tweet them in at NoDunksInc. We'll get to some Mr. Big News a little bit later in the show, JD. But first, some game recaps looking back at 2 games on Friday night. We'll start in the Eastern Conference. The Miami Heat use a big fourth quarter, a very big fourth quarter, to take the 3-0 series lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. They are in trouble. Trey, get us started, my man. What do you want to start first?
Folks, all Jimmy Butler has ever wanted to do is work hard and be the man. In the fourth quarter, he was working hard, so the Milwaukee Bucks just straight up let him be the man. This was another takeover by Jimmy Butler. Going down 12, heading into the fourth quarter, Butler outscores the Bucks 17-13. And he just set the tone from basically the jump. In the fourth quarter, he kept getting to the line. The Heat were in the bonus with 6 minutes remaining. Butler is cooking at that point. So Giannis finally decides to guard Jimmy Butler. Butler goes right by him. It's a dish to Bam. for a bucket inside. Then it's another blow-by by Butler on Giannis for a layup. And then it's another blow-by by Butler on Giannis. He kicks it out to Jay Crowder, an unsung hero in Game 3, knocks down his 5th three. The Bucks leading by 12 going into the 4th, but it's 40-13 Heat in the 4th quarter. And I don't know, guys. It's looking at the best for the Bucks. This is looking gentlemanly because I don't know. The Heat looked great that 4th quarter. It just felt like the Bucks' soul was slipping out of their body.
Oh, it was a bad 4th quarter for Milwaukee. Shot 6 of 23 from the field, 0 for 10 from distance, and like you said, outscored by Jimmy Butler alone, 17-13. It's over, baby.
Yeah,
bad fourth quarter. That was the worst 4th quarter in NBA history, in the history of the playoffs, being beat by 27 points. It doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah.
They got shellacked. And like you said, Trey, they were up 12 going into the 4th quarter. They were still up double digits with 10 minutes left. But, yeah, their soul has evaporated. Really, when you're up by 11 points with 10 minutes left, and then you just kind of stopped. What really happened was the Heat worked harder. They really did. They're up 11. The Heat get a shot up, offensive rebound, Bam goes to the free throw line. Next possession, offensive rebound, Jimmy scores. Then Eric Bledsoe comes down the other way, chucks up a 3 early in the shot clock, which is an Eric Bledsoe trend from past lower. Other way, Goran Dragic hits a 3. All of a sudden, that 11-point lead is a 4-point lead. Then Giannis goes to the bench for 2 minutes, which we will debate in a second. He comes back, and it's a 1-point lead. But then, boom, it's over. It was just over that they score 13 points in the 4th quarter after leading by double digits. What does that say? That just says that they're done. They're really done in this series. They know that even though they executed for 3 quarters, they know the team that across the floor is working harder than them, getting 5 offensive rebounds in a quarter in the 4th there. It's just way too many. They just got outworked, outpassioned, out-hustled. And, you can go through the mistake after mistake for the Bucks, the Bucks in the 4th quarter like we did in Game 3. They made plenty down the stretch, but when it comes down to it, they got out-toughed. They know this thing's done.
Yeah, I think for this game, in that 4th quarter, Giannis tried to fight when he did play. He was out there competing and trying. So was Brook Lopez. After that, no one else, I thought, had that same sort of resistance. Like Miami, when they got back into the game and you were thinking, okay, the Bucks have to steady here. And it was like, is Bledsoe going to step up? Is Chris Middleton going to step up? Nobody really did. And Giannis was trying to force things, and he gets himself sort of caught up. And then they were kind of relying on Brook Lopez to just kind of hit some shots and make some plays. And again, that's a problem for the Bucks. And it comes back again to the coaching of Mike Budenholzer. He seems confused. He doesn't seem to know quite exactly what he should be doing out there and what his rotation should be and who should be playing the most minutes. I know he's going to defend that thing about Giannis, 36 to 38 minutes to get into the ceiling, but you're seeing what the Raptors did to get back into their series against the Celtics when Nick Nurse is basically like, let's just play everyone until they fall over because that's what we need to do. We need our best players out there. But the Bucks, the same sort of problems that have haunted them in the last couple of seasons with, again, guys like Bledsoe just went completely missing yesterday. And I don't know what they can do to even win a game now because this one, again, if you compare this, what happened to the Raptors against the Celtics when the Raptors blew that lead on the Marcus Smart 5 threes, it was like the Raptors sort of stayed in that game and gave themselves a chance. But here, once the Heat got ahead, the Bucks kind of were just like, all right, we can't fight back anymore. We're done. And this is a team that should have been desperate and fighting and scrapping for every possession. But instead, it felt like the Miami Heat were the ones who were just more desperate to go 3-0 up and not to give any ground back at all to the Bucks.
Yeah, that's what I talked about after Game 2. That was the vibe I was getting from that victory from the Heat. It was like, uh-oh. I think they know that they're going to win this series and they know they can kill the Bucks. And they've crushed their spirit a little bit. Though you're right, the Bucks played pretty well for a good chunk of this game, but the takeover there, I mean, Jimmy Butler's clowning them too in the 4th quarter. Like you said, that one there, Trey, where he drives baseline again around Giannis and a beautiful pass out to Jay Crowder. I mean, he splits it between a bunch of traffic there, and Crowder, who's on fire, hits the 3. Jimmy, I mean, turning into Steph Curry there. Like, he passed it and his hand was up. That's a 3. He's going back on defense before Crowder's even let it go. So yeah, that's got to be even, insult to injury there from Jimmy Butler and the Heat, just shutting these guys down. Everybody knows the stat. No team in NBA history has ever come back after trailing 3-0. So it's a wrap. I mean, they're not going to do it. I don't think they're going to be the first. I guess you could say, look, if it were to ever happen Maybe it would happen in this weird environment where there's no, home court advantage and all of that. Maybe, but the Heat are just a much better team. That's the fact of it. And they're playing harder, like Tass said.
Right.
So you add those two things together, and you got the closer and Jimmy Butler over the closer and Giannis, who struggled again. There were stretches, Lee, where the ball didn't even go to Giannis down the stretch. Like you're right. Of course, when he gets to him, he is attacking. He is giving it his all. There were a good couple of possessions where he didn't even touch the ball on offense.
Well, and two things out of that. Giannis, again, he's trying to force stuff, but that Miami Heat defense is like, if you do get the ball, we're just going to put 4 people on you and make you make a play. And he's not really able to do that. And again, he's got shooters out there. They should be able to knock down those shots, but those guys don't really want the ball, to be honest with you. They're not sort of like saying, all right, I know this is coming. I know that the Heat's defense is right now. I'm going to get open, and I'm either going to drive or I'm going to take a 3. I'm going to make some sort of effort play here, because the Heat know if they can just make it difficult for Giannis, the Bucks' plan B is not working right now. And again, that comes
There
back.
is no plan B.
That comes back to the coach.
plan A?
It comes back to Coach Bud and what Budenholzer doing there, because he seems to be a little bit confused as to how he's going to mix things up and make it so that, like, okay, if you guys don't want Giannis to beat you, then these other guys will. That's why we've got these experienced guys. That's why we've got 3-point shooters. These guys should be the ones stepping up and knocking down shots, but they don't seem to be wanting it in that moment.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of felt that the Bucks are a regular season team, because they don't really have a closeout plan. It's, hey, let's flick this thing around the perimeter and somebody will make a play like the rest of the game. I mean, I think they blew out teams game after game after game in the regular season because everybody on their team can sort of make a play. But when you get the ball at the 3-point arc and you have a really pressing defense, fourth quarter playoff defense, number one, it's a lot different. Number two, you just need guys who can fight and scrap through that and make some plays. And it's kind of has to be one guy. It can't just be this democratic thing like everybody's going to touch it. And Brook Lopez put the ball on the floor from the 3-point line. I mean, that's going to get picked against this great Heat defense. There just wasn't really a set plan. But you just need a star. That's why you need a star to take over. And sometimes Giannis from the free throw line worked, but it just seems like they didn't necessarily have an end game to these last few minutes. And sometimes it's Bledsoe, which didn't end up well. And sometimes it's Brook out there. Sometimes it's DiVincenzo. It's just too many options. On the other side, it's Jimmy. Finish it off. On the Milwaukee side, it's just, I don't know. Everybody's going to touch it. And I think that's part of the problem with these Bud teams. It's you're relying on so many guys. And you can say, like, look at Boston. They kind of do that. And they do. They have 3 guys that sort of do that. But at least it's the 3 guys. And they kind of take it out of Jaylen Brown's hands as well. It's kind of just a Kemba Tatum show. It was just too much. It was too many. And I think let's get to the Giannis minutes because, he played 36 minutes in this game. He sat 2 minutes of game time in the fourth quarter, which, they lost by 3 points there. I don't know. And that was after a timeout. I don't know why you don't bring him out after a timeout. Get him up to 38 minutes. I'm not sure why you're trying to keep him fresh there when the game is slipping away as he sits there. And the game they were just losing it while he was on the floor before that as well. And then you just have bad decisions made out there while, play him just a few more minutes. and it's crazy because actually watching this and going to the fourth quarter, I thought Bud kind of controlled the rotation better. He took Pat Connaughton out of the rotation, basically. Kyle Korver's minutes were cut down to 5 minutes. So he was kind of playing 8.5 guys, and he got good minutes out of DiVincenzo. And George Hill and Marvin Williams were the other guys off the bench. It kind of worked out. But I just don't get why you don't play your stars a touch more. Like, it's coming down from the medical staff. Like he said after the game, 36 minutes is our ceiling for Chris Middleton and him. I don't know.
He says, I think. This is the problem. I think that's pushing the ceiling, playing them 35 to 30.
This is their series.
Giannis playing another 4 minutes. Does that really make that much of a difference? Jimmy Butler played the exact same minutes that Giannis did, and Jimmy Butler dominated this game. Giannis could be out there dominating. He has 5-minute stretches where Bud's able to get him going, where he's able to attack the rim and get around the wall that the Heat are building. But otherwise, he's not out there taking the game by its horns, I don't think. And, he could play 40 minutes, but if it's 40 minutes at 95% of Giannis, then the Bucks are going to continue to lose Giannis can be better. He's got to figure out something else because, like you guys are saying, people were missing a lot of jump shots there in the fourth quarter, and Giannis was still passing the ball out to him. Let's see something in the lane. Let's see like a little dinker or dumper from 10 feet. You don't have to pass it out every single time. We're not expecting Brook Lopez to make plays on the perimeter. The MVP has to be the MVP.
Yeah, that's it. We've talked about it. Like, feels like ad nauseum now. He needs to add something. The in between game has to be added to his repertoire here. Like, don't even worry so much about the three. I mean, it'd be nice if everybody can hit a three, of course, when you're out there on the floor in today's game. But it is the driving and getting somewhere around the paint, and then whatever you're doing, is it just a little pull up jumper? Like, is it Kawhi-like? I mean, okay, good luck. That might be a little difficult for a guy of his size and his stature, but yeah, some little floater, some little hook, something around the paint that he has to add to his game. I think that's a given, and hopefully he knows that too. But he should, like, all that said, though, in a must-win game, we just saw it with the Raptors. They played their two best guys that have been playing their best, heavy minutes, because you got to win or your season's over. So ride him into the ground here, and he still plays Giannis 35. Okay, now he has the ankle situation. I get that. There's a little twist to it. But Middleton only played 36. There's no reason that they shouldn't be playing at least 40, 2 minutes? 40 plus at the very least. It's like that's 6 minutes, 7 minutes, so they could be getting their best guys out there. And that it's just perplexing to me when it's like your season's on the line. Like, come on, that's a very easy adjustment, if you want to call it that. Play our best guys more. I mean, okay,
Giannis is 25 years old. So if he can't play 42 minutes in a playoff game right now, then there's something wrong. Chris Paul, who's 35, you understand why Billy Donovan kind of gave him a little bit of a rest in the fourth quarter of games because he is their closer and he went out and did it. But when you're 25 years old, you should be able to play 40, 42 minutes in a must-win playoff game without really any problems.
LeBron is playing those minutes like half the time.
And the other adjustment for Giannis is that three-point shot. He's got to just put that away. He's 2 for 13 in the series. It's kind of made out like he's an improved three-point shooter, and he was on the season, but he's still only 30%. When he's shooting those threes 0 for 7 last night, they're basically just turnovers for the Bucks. And the Heat are like, shoot them all you want, man. Yeah. Seriously, if you're going to take threes, even if you hit a couple, that's fine. We'll live with that. But that's where Giannis has to be. Like I say, he sort of is getting stuck in the paint. He's trying to force things a little bit too much rather than trying to be a little bit more creative. Now he'll learn that. I think he'll become a better player for it. But right now he's just struggling, and he's running into sort of like Bam or Crowder, whoever's down there. And they're kind of like just standing around and saying, well, what are you going to do now? And occasionally he'll get those layups and things, but he's not doing it at a sort of crushing rate that is putting the Bucks in a strong position. He's hitting a couple, but the Heat are kind of like, we'll live with this for now.
Yeah, and that's why he desperately needs to add that mid-range game of some sort, because he keeps barreling into guys too. This becomes a recurring issue too, where he gets all these offensive fouls. I think I saw the stat going around. He's like led the league by a mile, right, in offensive fouls, like trucking over guys. Because if you're the defender, you know he's not stopping and popping. You know he's not flipping it up. You know he's either kicking or driving into you right to the rim. So like, you try and establish yourself. You can take the hit and fall over. You're going to get the offensive call. So the charge called. So he needs to have that. But the Heat were awesome again too. I don't want to like discredit them here. I know we talked about Butler, but all those guys, like you said, Crowder's been massive. Bam with the 20 and 16, sort of unheralded, huge rebounds. Guys just hitting timely shots. Dragic, once again, I thought, at good chunks of the game, sort of taking over just enough for Jimmy. And then we get weird Jimmy after the game, talking his junk and all that. And Haslam told him to take over. I just kept thinking of you, Trey. I know how much you love Jimmy Butler, and you were the one guy to take the Bucks. I was like, this has got to be killing TK, because he does love Jimmy. And that's
why it's fine. That's why it's fine to me. Yes, I picked against Jimmy Butler, but if you've listened to the show for the past decade, my bona fides are established. I just love this guy because, he goes out there, he dominates the Bucks in the fourth quarter, brings home another win, and then he's sitting on the bench, and you can tell that he knows the camera is on him because he just starts spouting off inspirational quotes to his teams around him. I told you, we got some mother effers and ball on this team. Say I'm effing right. Say I'm effing right. I told you. Jimmy Butler knows where the camera is 100% of the time, and he's going to play to it every time. And then he comes out in like post-game press conferences. He's like, it's not just me out there. It's not just me. He's like the humblest guy of all time. We're on to you, Jimmy, and we love it.
Yeah. He wasn't talking to anybody. No. Like, it wasn't like somebody was like, sorry, what? He's just like, yeah, you're right. He knows camera's on. He's saying all this stuff, and everybody on the Heat's probably like, who are you talking to, man? Like, we were confident. We were pretty confident we were going to win this game too, but he just playing it up. And It's fun. It's fun. I love seeing him take over. Once again, that's 2 games now where he is outclassed. I mean, really 3, I guess, if you're counting the free throws to win game 2. He's taking over down the clutch. But man. So do the Bucks have any chance to win game 4? Let's ask it. I mean, is it over? Is it a sweep, or we get a gentleman's sweep?
Wow, man. It's crazy to think the Bucks will get swept in the second round. But I sort of feel that the way that game ended, that might have just sucked the life out of them, knowing that no matter what position they're in, they can blow it. And really, it just comes down to clutch time again. And do you have any faith that the Bucks are going to be able to execute any better than they have so far?
Nope.
I mean,
and
look,
I don't have any faith in Bud to change anything up or give him more minutes. No, and you're playing the Miami Heat, who are definitely wired like differently than a lot of teams because of Jimmy and this Wolster, and like I feel like they're more like, let's end it, let's kill them, like
they're not gentlemen at all. That's the thing that comes down to me. Could this be a gentleman's sweep with Jimmy Butler with his dastardly mustache? I doubt it.
Probably not. Probably not.
Well, I picked the Bucks yesterday, and for 3 quarters I thought, this is just what was going to happen. The Heat just weren't quite in rhythm, but that 1 quarter just changed everything. And that's the thing with the Bucks. They're going to go into this game knowing that, like, even if they build up a 15-point lead, it's not safe against the Heat. So I'll say a sweep, but that's, man. Wonder if Budenholzer keeps his job if they get swept.
You do not like to hear afterwards. We had won 6 straight quarters up until that point.
Yeah.
Immediately, I flashed to Jim Boylan saying, we're looking at growth plates here. When you're talking about winning quarters in the playoffs, the game is lost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Tass?
Yeah, it's time to get another coach to take them over the line. Whether or not they win in game 4 or game 5, they're just, if they don't have that grittiness, you can't match a grittiness level of another team. And I thought, coming into the third quarter, I saw Chris Middleton yell at Brook Lopez, and I thought, whoa, there is some life in this team. Chris Middleton probably be the one to make the shots down the stretch. Like, he's the guy who can put it on the floor, but everybody else in the rotation, and it's going to fall down on the coach if they can't match a grittiness level, whether it's 5 games or whether it's 4 games. Yeah, I think it feels like it's definitely over. Well,
then there's the elephant in the room too of what Giannis does with his extension, right? That he's going to be offered immediately when that's a possibility, and does he sign it or not? And if he doesn't, here we go in Milwaukee. Now I'm on record saying he does, but this being swept in the second round, possibility of being swept in the second round, and maybe moving on from your coach, so it's a whole new wrinkle to this. I don't know where to go with that one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We will see.
You never know. I feel like guys can sign that monstrous extension and then demand a trade a year into it.
Oh, for sure.
So they don't get questions. Like, he is signed through next year, so you sign that and you play your 1 year and decide after that. But there's lots of talk about a 1+1. Playing it like LeBron to make sure that Milwaukee puts a better guard system, coach system around him.
Yeah. George Hill still has faith. We're still here in the bubble, he said. It's not the first one to win 3 games. I love this. It's the first one to win 4 games. We still have basketball to play. George Hill still believes, but they're going to have to bring it in the fourth quarter. The Bucks have scored 59 total points in the fourth quarters of all 3 of these games. Yeah, that's not going to get it done.
Just ask the officials to put it up that it's quarter number 3 in the fourth quarter or something like that. They're leading by double digits go to the fourth, and then how can you have the worst point differential in the fourth quarter in playoff history? This team that was bashing teams had the largest point differential, beating teams by 11 points. Did not having fourth quarter experience hurt this team during the regular season?
They were too good in the regular season. Interesting wrinkle. Wow. All right, let's keep it going here. Rockets run away from the Lakers. Trey Kirby called this one. Rockets take game 1, 112-97. Another big run, Tass, in the fourth quarter really propelled the Rockets to this victory. A 14-0 run there at the beginning of the fourth. Rockets game 1. What's your big takeaway?
Yeah, Houston is in this thing to win it, obviously. They're ready to fight and scrap. And I say that because the team that's quite larger in the Los Angeles Lakers didn't crush them with points in the paint, didn't really hurt them on the glass. The Rockets were ready to fight. I'm sure James Harden feels good to be free of Lou Dort. He was amazing against whoever it was, Danny Green or KCP on him. Russell Westbrook, very, very good. I guess it would help if the Lakers had Avery Bradley in this series, just to be a tinier Lou Dort on James Harden. But somebody's going to have to step up in game 2 because the Rockets they beat them on both ends, really. The Rockets had 27 points off turnovers because the Lakers. It did kind of remind me of game 1 against the Blazers. I thought the Lakers weren't really moving, weren't really getting to their spots, and they were kind of caught in the mud, and the Rockets were ready to pounce on those balls. And when you have 27 points off turnovers, a quarter of your points off live ball turnovers like that, that just feeds the Rockets. It really did. And Harden fed them in the first half and kept that spirit up. 11 first half free throws for Harden I thought was monstrous. And then in the fourth quarter, you have Rajon Rondo leading the team there at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they're working him in. These are his first minutes in the playoffs, and you can't have a backup guard turn the ball over 4 times. You just can't, and that really hurt the team. It would have been a lot nicer if he didn't have those back spasms in the first round because he was sort of back from his thumb injury, but then the back kicked up. It would have been nice if he could play against Portland instead of this Houston team, a better squad, because now they're trying to work him in. I don't mind them working him in. I think that everybody is sort of being overblown. He played 24 minutes. He has 7 were garbage time. So they were just trying to get him acclimated. But he obviously wasn't good. But I think the bigger problem was the Rockets were better on both ends, and Rondo played into that. And he could have played less, but at the same time, all credit to Harden and Westbrook. They were better, and their defense was better.
Yeah, a lot of the keys to the series that we were pointing out sort of came true for the Rockets in game 1, especially defensively, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about Harden and Westbrook were fantastic, but I think PJ Tucker was absolutely incredible in this game defensively, what he brought. He didn't score all that many points, and I think the effort that he's been putting on defensively is actually starting to affect his offensive game a little bit because he's not shooting the 3 all that well, those corner threes that we know he does so well. But on that defensive end, he just does not give an inch. And Anthony Davis yesterday struggled badly when PJ was the lone defender on. And Tim McMahon had a stat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was very, very impressive for PJ Tucker. And, I read through it.
Well, okay, so I think throughout the regular season, Tucker's done the best job out of anyone on Anthony Davis. But I don't think he was matched up a ton of times in game 1 specifically.
Well, so this is why I read it and I wasn't quite sure about it. So Davis finished 25 points, 10 for 16 shooting, right?
Yeah.
But according to ESPN stats, Davis was 0 for 1 from the field and committed 2 turnovers in 26 possessions, which Tucker was the primary defender.
Right. Defender. I saw that too.
Yeah, which that just seems a little odd that he would only have taken 1 shot on 26 possessions. That's all. So
how great Tucker is, man.
Yeah.
But get the ball up.
But the thing is, you think he's 35 years old. He's playing a ton of minutes. Of course, everyone plays a ton of minutes to the Rockets. He's coming off a game 7, 2 days rest, or not even 2 days rest, 1 day rest. And he went out there and gave that sort of effort, which I think just set the tone. And the Rockets' defense was brilliant. So everyone deserves credit. They were great. But I think a lot of it starts with just the way that Tucker sort of sets that tone because he is basically their only big, their only significant big, even though he calls himself a small.
Yeah. No. Did you see the worldwide wob clip of Tucker defending LeBron in the post?
Yeah.
On that, called him a cinder block or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He couldn't move him.
He couldn't move him.
So that to me
Strong
is like Tucker, again, he's 35. He has had some injuries in the past. They've got to keep him on the floor, and the amount of minutes and the physicality that he's playing with could catch up with him at some point. But overall, it's not just him. That Rockets defense intensity was fantastic yesterday. And can they keep it up? Because what I think this will be a long series, and they've shown signs of it, certainly against the Thunder they did it at times. But we also saw at times it wasn't quite as intense, and that's going to be important for Houston in this series because we know the Lakers are going to bounce back.
Yeah, no, they were deflecting passes and grabbing loose balls. And like Tass said, 17 turnovers from the Lakers, some of them their own fault, I think, sloppy passing and stuff like that. A lot of them live ball, but 27 points off turnovers. That's huge. LeBron talked about it though, Trey. I mean, you said LeBron likes to use these game 1s as these weird feel out games. And he even said, we got to feel for their speed. That's a LeBron quote. And it probably was a little shocking to some extent.
He called them the greatest show on turf. He called them the LA Rams from the early 2000s.
Yes.
And he went 4 deep on the references too. He brought out Oz Hakeem. Like you can bring out Torrey Holt. No big deal. Marshall Faulk. That's easy. But when you're reaching for Oz Hakeem, it's a serious
that's
comparison.
in sports, man.
I was impressed, but it was the perfect game one storm. For whatever reason, LeBron loves the feel-out game, and I have to imagine that the Rockets in the James Harden era have won 100% of their game ones. They're almost the inverse Raptors just because the Rockets really make you play their game. They're so different than any other team in the league that in game one, like LeBron saying, you can't simulate the speed. You can't simulate guys switching all the time because the Rockets do it for an entire season. So then you're suddenly playing another football reference that Karan Butler made. The Rockets established the run. They're playing slow. Suddenly you're playing Rockets ball. It happened in the Thunder series as well, where you just get involved in all these ISOs. You're like, yeah, PJ Tucker is short. I'm LeBron. I'm going to run him over. But suddenly you're shooting a reverse, not even looking at the rim.
Yeah,
instead of actually getting some sort of good shot, right? We've talked a lot of times that the way to beat the Rockets is move the ball. Just keep it moving, moving. They got to stay on a string. They're good when you can load up on them and everybody knows exactly where they need to be. But if the ball keeps pinging around, it's going to be a little bit tougher for Houston. So I was not surprised to see LeBron chilling in game one. I was not surprised to see the Rockets play Rockets basketball in game one. And James Harden is great in game ones as well. That's why, to me, game two, it's already pivotal. If we see this again from Houston, then we can think that LA's in trouble. But things went poorly for the Lakers, no doubt about it. But it's kind of a little bit on them as well. I just feel like they don't really care to win that game one. And maybe that's why LeBron James has gone to so many more game sevens than Michael Jordan. I don't remember Michael Jordan ever having a feel-out game in the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Houston has matched up well, right, versus the Lakers all season long. They've played great defense, best defense in the league right now in the playoffs for the Rockets. 101.4 points per 100 possessions. That's damn good. A lot better than they did in the regular season. And you guys said it, like Harden efficient 36. That's the big thing. 36 for James Harden. I mean, you can do it in his sleep efficiently though. Westbrook, awesome attacking, 24 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. That's 6 assists. That's perfect from him. And then Eric Gordon. I mean, you want to talk about Tucker getting a lot of like the credit defensively. Eric Gordon has been damn good. Both, obviously he's going to give you the points. He's going to hit some threes, but defensively, that guy has been like, he was locked in at times on Chris Paul in that last series. He did some decent job on LeBron even in game one. He's given it his all. So the question is just like, how will LeBron and the Lakers come at them a little differently now that they got a feel for their speed? But just can the Rockets sustain this 3 more times to get victories? And I'm talking about this being their defense, like the effort that they have to put up there. And you're right, the Lakers bail them out if they just sort of like ISO or live with a 3. Like you're right, Trey, man, you gotta just keep zip it around and then keep just drive in, and that will tire them out. And maybe it will again. But great game from the Rockets. It was fun. I'm glad they won this game. It makes it makes it like a series immediately, right?
Sure. I think Rondo was a little bit of sticky hands. There's no doubt because that's how Rondo plays. And I think LeBron won't let that happen again. If it comes to a fourth quarter, he's just not going to let you can go. If you're on the floor, I'm sure he'll talk to Frank Vogel and they'll decide if Rondo, how many minutes Rondo's going to play. But if Frank Vogel plays him, LeBron's got to take it out of his hands a little bit because it was a little too sticky. They have to zip it because that's where they are their best. But even if they do get down in the post, like LeBron, he was moving the cinder block a little bit, but he just decides to flick it over his shoulder instead of turning around and shooting over the guy who's shorter than him. I mean, I didn't get some of their decisions there. I think AD falls in line with what LeBron does, and LeBron is a game one feeler. There's no doubt. But at the same time, and so we didn't get the best AD, even though he's skilled enough to pour in that many points. On any game like this, he's still 10 for 16, which is nuts to say he didn't have a good game, but he was 25 and 14. It still didn't feel like he didn't dominate because he could dominate this type of team. They didn't get. They had 97 points on the night. They had 93 against Portland in their first game. I think they will be better, but we can give all the credit to the Rockets because Harden, game one, master. Game two, it'll slow down a little bit, but we have. I'm not going to get back into the Schumann stats, but we're in line here for a series, and that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, Rondo though, the Rockets are happy to just leave him alone because I can play those minutes that Rondo's playing out there because he's sort of just standing around trying to wait for someone to pass without creating. He needs to be more aggressive than he was last night, and the Rockets are like, we'll live with you with the ball in your hand. That's fine with us. So. And Lakers Twitter was turning on Rondo last night as well.
It doesn't take long.
Oh, no.
Well, that pass he put off the backboard, the inbound pass, that was rough. Like this isn't the 1980s where he has to dribble to create. He gets those assists because he's a one pass man, because he's going to hold it for 15 seconds.
Yeah,
and somewhere, that is a problem for sure.
Yeah, because he either dribbles, and then gives someone a pass late in the shot clock, or he pulls up and stops, and then he won't shoot it. And so the Rockets are like, well, we'll let you shoot it, man. That shot's there, and he won't do it. So,
I mean, Vogel needs to look. If you start to see this again from Rondo in Game 2, like you were saying, like the ball sticking and him not looking great because he's rusty or whatever, because he's also old at this point, Vogel has to pull him because he's not giving you anything. He doesn't really give you anything defensively anymore. I know we hold on to that idea of Rondo being a lockdown defender. That's long gone, guys. So we'll see what Vogel does. But the key to the series, I said, was every Laker player not named LeBron or Anthony, worry about them. Those guys are going to get theirs, and they sort of did, but everybody else shot a combined like 34%. And that was even with Caruso hitting a couple threes, the ball dort. So that's the game plan. If I'm the Rockets still, that's fine. LeBron's going to get the 35. AD's probably going to get the 35. Just shut everybody else down if you can. Like Kyle Kuzma, was his name mentioned in the broadcast?
When he got pissed, and he got taken off there.
Yeah, he was mad.
It was a pretty quiet Kuzma game, pretty quiet Danny Green game.
Carl Kuzma, unfortunately. People are calling for Dion Waiters, Skeets. And that's a scary situation to be in when you're like, we need Dion Waiters to step up here. I don't think it's that drastic at this point. Waiters will probably help. But if you're counting on Waiters to be the guy that takes you to a title, yikes mode.
Yeah. We did have a poster dunk in this before we move on. I mean, LeBron put Westbrook on the poster there. Then he had the huge block on Westbrook too, where I thought Westbrook was going to punch it on him. But then that was the one where LeBron went the other way and barreled through Covington and got the foul. And he nearly punched the referee in the face when he did his double flex. Did you see that? When he threw the Lee Ellis Mo Pete Scherzi guns up. He nearly punched the ref in the face. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for the Rockets to get this victory. They looked awesome. All three of their main guys, like I said, in Harden, Westbrook, and Eric Gordon, contributing offensively, and then just defensively. Everybody was on a string again in that game. So it'll be an interesting game too. Anything else to add, gentlemen? I'll ask that classic question.
No, but I will say.
All right. We got some news still to tackle here on today's No Dunks, but first, a quick break to pay the bills. Okay, some news. For the third consecutive year, the Clippers have the league's top bench man. Clippers power forward Montrezl Harrell has won the 2019-20 Sixth Man of the Year award, eked out his teammate Lou Williams and OKC super sub Dennis Schroeder. Clippers now have had the Sixth Man of the Year winner in 5 of the past 7 years. Crazy, Lee, but bit of a surprise, I assume, to you, who were you were definitely thinking Schroeder was going to maybe take this award.
Yeah, it's a surprise, but not a surprise at the same time. Montrezl has been really, really good, and he was certainly in contention for this award, but I thought Schroeder was going to do it, and I think the voting, though, was fairly close. I mean, it was really those first-place votes that got it for Trez. He got 58 to only 35 there for Dennis. So, yeah, I mean, no complaints at all. He comes out there, and Doc Rivers talked about it. He really understands what his role is on that team. Come out, give them energy, hustle. You're going to get points at the other end, but play defense, play your role, set some screens, and he brings the energy. So a deserving winner for sure. And no complaints that Dennis didn't win it, because I just think Trez, he's been great. And the speech afterwards, because he left the bubble to be with his grandma, who sadly passed away. And prior to the season, his grandma said to him, according to the report, that he was like, "This is your season." And so he was very, very emotional that he wasn't able to sort of finish off their conversation from the season and show her the award there. But, very, very special for him. And also then the photo, he had his shoes there with Breonna Taylor as well. So really, really well done job there from Montrez by getting the award and then, expressing what it meant to him and using that to further his platform as well. So very, very good day for him. And congratulations to the Clippers once again taking home this award.
Yeah, they dominate this award. We got all the 6 men. Of course, Lou Williams and had Jamal Crawford and stuff like that. StatMuse had the tweet too. Trez is the first player to average 18 and 7 on 50% shooting off of the bench in minimum 50 games since. Come on, Lily.
18 rebounds.
It's a tough one.
Rebounds.
You love this guy though. I think I heard you talk on the podcast with Gazy and Copeland about this guy. One of your favorites to be around. A legend, a Celtics legend.
Oh no.
Kevin McHale.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. Kevin McHale in 89-90 for Trez, the first guy off the bench, 18-7 on 50% shooting in the minimum number of games. There are 50 games. Yeah. Congratulations. Anything to add to that? I can't assume you guys have much to add to that.
I'll just say I love it because this is literal Mr. Big news. A big guy winning Sixth Man of the Year. It never happens. The most recent would be Lamar Odom, but he's more of a tall guy than a big guy playing out on the perimeter. You kind of got to go back to Antoine Jameson circa 03-04 for the last big guy to win this. So yeah, certainly Mr. Big News. And I do love that he is a partner of Lou Williams because it's kind of like still voting for Lou Williams, right? You're like either Lou or Montrez could win this. Lou's won it so many times, including the past two. We got to give it to a different Clipper. So shout out to Montrezl Harrell, bringing it home for the big guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I like that Lou Williams presented him the award. That was really neat how he came out and handed it to him. Obviously, Lee talked about everything else, all the other little details that they put into the presentation, the acceptance of the award. And that just furthers my belief that we don't need an NBA award show whatsoever. Just have these setups individually. These teams know what means most to the player. And, whether we saw, for instance, Nick Nurse have his old high school coach call him and have that conversation, it can mean more than getting up on a stage and speaking to a bunch of people who are having their free drinks. So let's take that out of the game. That's changed the NBA workplace. That's changed the NBA future. I think it was a fun little experiment, the NBA awards show, but
it didn't really knock it out of the park, if we're being honest. It was fine. I mean, look, they sell some ads on it, I'm sure, make some money, recoup some there, but I'm with you. Like, I'm trying to even think, like, what's been the most iconic NBA awards show moment?
Well,
Bill Russell giving the finger to Charles Barkley.
That was good.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good. That's a good one. But yeah,
Seg's speech. There's been a couple, but you can replicate those and even put some more of the little details into it, like Nurse's coach calling him, Lou will come in there. There's lots you can do.
Yeah, but you're actually the best part about these is like they're also spread out, right? These award presentations, like every couple of days or whatever. So it's like a 10 to 15 minute thing instead of a 3-hour award show, which a lot of people are going to tune out in the summer at that when the season's over and people are sort of already checked out. So I agree with you.
I'm speaking to the kids. We all have ADD. We can't watch 2 hours.
No,
we can watch 3-minute clips max.
100%. All right, we got some final news here. This is interesting. Nuggets coach Michael Malone went after the NBA on Friday, calling their policy of not allowing coaches to bring family into the bubble, quote, criminal in nature. So he was speaking to reporters ahead of game 2, and Malone answered a different question about the bubble by saying he needed to get something off of his chest. So let's play the clip.
This is day number 60. And the reason I bring that up is because the players have their families here, which they deserve, which is the right thing to do. The referees are allowed to bring one guest, which is great for the referees. The coaches are not allowed to bring anybody. I say, shame on you, NBA. This is crazy. I miss my family, and I think I speak for me. I speak for my coaches and probably all the coaches down here. 60 days and not having access and not being granted the privilege to have my family come here, to me, is criminal in nature, and that shouldn't be at all. So I wanted to get that off my chest.
So Nuggets coach Mike Malone, very upset there. I know some other coaches sort of, had his back with these comments. Tass, what do you think? Is Malone overreacting? Is this fair? What's your opinion?
Well, let's just clear the scenario here just to make sure everybody's got it straight. The players didn't have their families until this round either. So they went 50, 55, 60 days without seeing their families either. And thinking back, it's kind of surprising that they didn't demand that from the beginning, or at least a lot earlier, right? So there's 22 teams that came down there. Now there's only 8. 14 of the teams didn't see their families whatsoever. But now to Michael Malone's part of it, because it is surprising that the players are allowed. So about 15 of the 35 people that come with each organization, the 15 players get their families to come with them, but the other 20 don't. And that's surprising. It really is surprising that I didn't know the referee rule that the referees can have one person.
I didn't know that at all. Yeah.
I'm not sure when that took place, if that was from the beginning or what, but it would make sense for the coaches to have somebody, a significant other, possibly. They're older as well, most of these coaches. So a lot of them probably don't have little kids that would want to be down the bubble, but a significant other would make sense. And I'm just surprised looking back, we talked about the 135-page manual over and over and over again in the months of April and May and June while this was happening, and all the rules. And, we weren't really up in arms about it because we know it's a players' league and they get, first crack at everything. But looking back, yeah, it would make sense, not just for the coaches and all the party to have somebody there, but the players as well from the beginning. I'm not going to get nickel and dime here and think, wow, this hotel room is going to cost this much. I know it's costing the NBA a lot, but they can afford to put up, or even, and I say an older, these coaches are older, it might not even cost them another hotel room. They could just be in the same hotel room. Now I'm nickel and diming. Yeah, it would make sense to have their families there, at least, one or two people. They don't have to have cousin Joe and cousin Bill come on, but at least their nuclear core family, that would make sense. So I echo Coach Michael Malone, and it's a long couple months, but they probably should have had it for the whole time and not even now.
Well, no, you can't say. I don't think we can say everybody should have had it from the whole, from the jump, from the start. Because let's try and remember months ago how insane this idea even was and whether it was even going to work. And we were pretty convinced the more people you try to add into the bubble, the less likely it is going to be successful. So that made sense. I'm sorry, guys, you are going to be away from your families, players included. I think where the frustration is coming from with the coaches, and I think sort of rightfully, is it sounded like the NBA at the time when they're making the manual, and they're going through all the logistics and saying, okay, well, the players, if they're here, come the playoffs, then they can bring people down. Coaches, we don't want to lock that in right now because we're not even convinced this whole experiment's going to work. This whole campus thing's going to work, but we will revisit it. That's what it sounded like they sort of said to them. They didn't say, no, you're never seeing your family again. All right. If you want to coach, coming down here and you're coaching. It sounded like, yeah, that might be a possibility. We'll put that on the side burner and then we'll, revisit that. And now we're at the point to revisiting it and they have decided that they're not going to do it. And it's sort of probably you're a coach down there going, look, this is working. This is safe. Why can't we now, the coaches that remain here, with now opening up of rooms and stuff like that? I think that's a fair frustration if I was a coach, because that's sort of my read on this. What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. There wasn't anything in that first document about coaches coming, but they did say we'll try and figure it out. We'll try and figure it out for referees as well. And I'm a little unsure what's going on with the referees. Do they really have one guest? Because the league said nobody has guests except for players. So I don't know. I mean,
apparently there's a Woj statement here that there are no guests for referees.
So what is Malone saying then?
He's wrong, I guess. No, according to Woj here, no other team or league staff, including coaches and referees, has guests on campus.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then, right?
That definitely makes more sense. And the players, I do think, should have their families be there. But like you guys are saying, it's not a huge stretch to be able to bring one other person to a coach's room, right? If it happens to be Mike Malone's wife, I think she would be fine sharing a room with Mike Malone. It's not going to cost them any more to throw somebody else in there in the bed. They probably already have one king bed. They don't even need two doubles. They'll figure something out, but 2 months, that's a long time. Skeets, JD, you guys were gone for a month. JD, you were gone for 2 months. Would you have liked to have had one family member there?
I would have loved it. Hey, Malone's horny. Let's just call it what it is. 60 days, and then, joking aside, he's seeing all the players get their families in. I mean, at the beginning of it, you're probably like, okay, I can do this. But then you see all these families being reunited, and you're like,
oh yeah,
the hell, man, why wouldn't I have my family here? It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and just a reminder for some people out there, it's not just the head coaches though, right? I mean, we think oh yeah, Malone and Spoelstra, and there's a lot of coaches on these teams. I know it's been reduced to keep the party smaller, but I guess I can't assume you just say, well, you're the head coach, so you get your significant other. It would have to be for all of them,
All the support stuff on the
the
team
support
as well,
stuff.
because again, if you give it to the coaches, then the assistant coaches, then the trainers, athletic trainers, like, so I don't get my wife to come, and I think more than just one guest, it should be immediate family, because again, if you've got young kids, you can't. I wouldn't want to say just the wife can come and the kids can go and stay with grandpa and grandpa or someone like that. It's like bring them all in, because it's for the mental health side of it as well, I think, and the emotional health. If you got kids or your wife, whoever it is, you just want to hold that person and go back to the hotel room and have them there at night. And after 60 days and seeing other people having that experience, it must be awful for Michael Malone, really. So I feel for him, but I also understand the league's sort of point. But at the same time, again, we're down to way fewer than the amount of teams that went down there originally. So I think it's okay to bring in direct, immediate family for everyone who's been in the bubble from day one.
Right. Again, I think the whole shame on you NBA, maybe I'm reading into it, but it really feels like you said this was maybe going to be a possibility, and now we've gotten to that day, and now you're still saying no. And why? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, and that is why he's maybe so pissed off, because look, he didn't hold back there, right? He was calling out the league. I mean, he's saying this criminal in nature. Again, maybe even going a little too far.
Extreme.
Yeah, a little extreme. You got a nice hotel there. You got your meals paid for and all that. But again, if from the jump, from day one, they said, coaches, look, listen, you're not getting anybody coming down. Players are eventually, and you're not. So make the decision if you want to go, right? You're just not going to have your wife coming or your significant other coming or family coming. Then it's a little okay, now that's up to me. That's my decision. But again, it's like this. Yeah, that might happen. So, you're still there. You'll probably get somebody down there. So I don't know. It sucks. And maybe they'll figure this out, but maybe the NBA is like, look, we've gotten to this point. Why risk it? We're so close. We can sort of see the finish line. Hey, Malone, you're going to lose the next couple of games here anyway. You're going to be out of here in a week. That'd be such an awesome response from Silver. You're going to lose.
You'll see your family in a week, Mike.
Yeah, you're going to lose, Mike. You'll be out of here in a second. Anyway, let's hear from you guys. That's an interesting one. Let us know through Twitter at NoDunksInc or in the YouTube comments there. All right, let's get to Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the Night. Wow.
Twitter.
Lily, what do you got, mate?
Well, guys, I think I've shown restraint so far by not just going for the low-hanging fruit.
Oh, don't do it.
And taking Magic Johnson tweets for Tweet of the Night. But I caved after last night because Magic went on an epic run. And he had a few, but I'm only going from one game. And it was after the Bucks and Heat game when Magic, this is his first one, Jimmy Buckets Butler made every play for the Miami Heat in the fourth quarter. Whether he scored or made an assist to his teammate. Magic wasn't done there, though. Jimmy Butler, scoring 30 points, took over the game. He was involved in every play by the Miami Heat in the fourth, leading them to a 115-100 victory. Couple more.
Oh, no.
The Milwaukee Bucks didn't play smart basketball and showed a lack of mental toughness in the fourth quarter.
This sounds like no dunks here for the first 20 minutes. I mean, that was all right.
Now, those first three tweets came in pretty quick succession, but then about an hour and a half later, he came back with this one.
Oh, he found out.
Jimmy Butler scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, while the entire Bucks team scored 13. Head explosion emoji. Magic's using an emoji out there.
He used a GIF the other day. Yeah.
Great one. Yeah. So
new intern.
He basically did the same thing for the Rockets and Lakers game, but I saved you guys from that. I just went on the one game there. But, man, Magic is just, when you think about the image of what Magic was before social media, cool guy, superstar player, had it all. And then Twitter is just like, oh, man. And the replies are just gold after a Magic tweet. It's just like, thanks, Magic. Yeah, thanks for letting us in there.
It's not him, though. This has lost its magic to me.
I don't think
it's not him. I'm not even convinced he's even telling someone to do this now. It's an entire bit/brand that someone is just running with that does his work.
I disagree. It's pure Magic. That's why you can't. No one can make that one up. That stuff up. It's so good.
Yes, no one can pull those exact things from the Associated Press release that just came up from the game. All right. Okay. Lily mailing it in here with Magic. What a shocker. All right. Congrats. Let's get to the games of today. The Raptors back in business. Huge game 4, Tass. And, of course, another one as well, Nuggets Clippers.
Yeah, let me just add, I think it was Josiah Johnson who tweeted, if we remember Magic's press conference where he left the Lakers, I think it was Josiah Johnson. The caption was, Giannis, are you going to be in the conference finals? And it's Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to be able to get there. Good stuff. Tonight, 2 games. Let's start with the nightcap briefly here. 9 o'clock Eastern on TNT. Denver Clippers, game 2. What do you guys see for Denver? How are they going to change it up to get back on the board here against the dominant Clippers? You think this is over? Do you think Michael Malone has only 3 more games in the bubble? Trey, start us off.
I gotta have a little faith in the Nuggets to at least make it interesting. I mean, you could make an argument that they did the best job on Kawhi Leonard so far in the bubble, breaking his 30-point streak by getting blown out, so he ended with 29. But I don't know, man. The problem is Kawhi is the best player in the world, and they don't have anybody that guards him. They got to be able to outscore the Clippers. Meanwhile, the Clippers are very good defensively, and they're going to be playing a little bit even more intense, I would imagine, getting that 5th in 7 years, 6th Man of the Year trophy. They don't want Montrezl Harrell to look like a fool. They're going to try and get another win here. But let's see Jokic and Murray go off. That's the big thing. Jokic and Murray, they got to be great.
Skeets, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they got to feed the Joker, and he's got to have a monster game when he's done it before in the playoffs. But I'll say it's a closer game, but I'll still have the Clippers winning this by 8 or 9, 10 points in the end. I don't know what the line is for this game, but they're just too much, man. They're too much. And, and we keep saying it, like Paul George is going to have like a 30-point night in him here. He will. He'll hit 5 or 6 threes. It'll happen. He did it in the first round too, in at least one of those games. So Clips by, a closer game, not a blowout by, the second or third quarter, but Clips pull it out still in the end by 9. That's what I'll go with.
And that's what the line is.
Oh, look at that.
It's a big niner. Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, that's not good. Not a lot of faith there in the Nuggets being able to even keep this one close, if that's what the bettors are saying, if that's where the money's going. They need everything to just be so perfect for the Nuggets, really, to even stay in this one because, Jimmy Butler, as great as he's been, Kawhi Leonard's kind of like serious Jimmy Butler, but, he just ups the ante from the start as well. Like that second quarter against the Nuggets the other night, Kawhi was just so intense. And, that's the thing with Kawhi. He's like, I want to end this series as quick as I can to get ready for the next series and be fresh and play as fewer minutes and as fewer games as possible so that he's not exhausting himself. So I don't feel great for the Nuggets. I think the Clippers are 2-0 up after this one and 5 at max, I think, this series.
So what do you got, Tass? What do you say tonight?
Ooh, well, I think Jamal Murray's going to have the ball in his hands a lot more because when he was working off the ball, those 4 guys, they had 4 guys literally, they say, hey, Zubats, go guard Jokic. Us 4 on the perimeter, we'll take him. So I think Jamal in a pick and roll with Jokic kind of forces them both to get involved. Number one, forces Jokic to wake up right from the get-go. And it forces just 2 guys to be on those dudes. So I think that'll help. I don't know. They seem gassed too. Like Jamal Murray coming out of that 7-game series, interviewed right after, was told that it was Thursday. He only had 1 day off. He said, "What? Thought we were playing on Friday." So he's probably fresher. They are going to give up. Clippers are going to give up 1 game. I'm just not 100% sure.
I'm with you on that still too. It's just what game? What game are they going to pick?
But yeah, I'm with. Yeah, Trez should be better. Trez still isn't himself quite yet. Like he's playing to they're still. That was last game was the first time the Clippers had all of their guys. Mm-hmm. So game 2 they could be even better. And let's get to the first game briefly. 6:30 Eastern. Raps and Celtics. 2-1 Celtics. The question is, what time are you starting to stand?
Well, that's a great question actually, Tass, because I have found with some of these start times we've been getting over the last couple of weeks, they're hit or miss if they're actually starting around 6:30 or suddenly they start at like 6:45. Mm-hmm. Like last night, correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like that one started almost around 6:30. Like it was a pretty quick, like, let's get to the jump ball. It felt quicker than some of the other ones. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'll be standing, right away, right from the jump, of course, right from the tip ball. Social media, we'll start kicking that off during the first time out there, Tass. I don't want to be doing it while I'm watching the game, but, we'll make sure Nora's taking the photo, and then we'll get the hashtag Stand with Skeets going, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll all get into it. I think I'll get into it as well, especially because I saw you tweet a photo, and Brad beats in here with a comment about it. Stand with Skeets and drink a vanilla Coke.
Oh, yes.
Because you tweeted a photo of you drinking a vanilla Coke.
Well, yeah.
And you asked, do people drink vanilla Cokes?
I wasn't sure. I was happy with the response. A lot of people do. So, I just want to make this clear. Yeah, I tweeted this out. I'm wandering around yesterday. Nora was getting her haircut, so I had an hour to kill. So I'm just wandering around over at Inman Park. I actually saw Trey Kirby going to rip some lips. I drove by him, gave him a little Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But I'm walking. I'm thirsty, so I stop at the store. I love a vanilla Coke every once in a while. I can see it, but there's always a million vanilla Cokes available. I'm convinced I'm the only person that buys this anymore. And you don't even see it half the time in some stores. So I was like, is it even gone? Are these old vanilla Cokes? But a lot of people responding that they are vanilla Coke drinkers. It's great. It's a tasty, tasty Coca-Cola product. Every once in a while. I mean, I'm talking once every 4 months I'm having one, and it's good.
I might be going even deeper here. Every once in a while, I don't mind a Coke Vanilla Zero.
Sure,
so it's just a bunch of chemicals.
Crazy, man.
Wow. I did. There was some responses for that too. You're right. People said, make that the zero version. I love it. It's a good taste. I love the taste of vanilla. Lee, you like vanilla?
Who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever drunk a vanilla Coke before. I can't imagine it would be nice because that's
it's nice. Smooth. It's
really?
Very nice. Yeah.
Maybe I'll try it. But,
well, do you like vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream more?
Well, French vanilla.
Okay.
French vanilla.
Only French.
Yeah. Not the regulation vanilla. No, I need that creamy French stuff.
Yeah, right.
The regulation.
No, high maintenance, man.
No, a little bit. A little, but there's the standard vanilla, which is just like vanilla, but then there's French vanilla, which is way more rich and creamier. It's way better.
Organic bananas, only French vanilla.
Yeah, I will say I'll be standing tonight, Skeetsy. I'll be doing this for the remainder of the series. But and also, when I tweeted out my photo, a few people point out my TV's a little bit wonky. It's not lined up. Now, they're true. They're right. They're right because it's up on the wall, and it's one of those things that allegedly pulls out, and you can move it around.
Yeah,
you can't for some reason. I pulled it off the wall. So then I put it back, and now I've been trying to straighten it up, and I can't do that. So that's the way it is. It doesn't bother me, but I understand a few of those OCD people out there, they can't look at the photo.
That doesn't bother you, but heaven forbid somebody give you normal vanilla ice cream and this guy freaks out. This is why you're the weirdest person to me. Your TV is literally off kilter. You're like, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I tried, and it was one of those things. I'm like, I know when the guy originally put it in 7 years ago, he's like, see, you just pull it out and you can move it around. I'm like, okay, great. And I tried to do it one time, and when it just sort of starts coming off the wall, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna fall off here.
Right.
So I just pushed it back in. It's steady, and I'm like, I've jiggled it. I've jiggled it some more. I've pushed it. Then I'm like, all right, this is it. This is how we're going. So,
oh man, I'm tired of the comments when I do the Stand with Skeets of why is your TV so small? Learn perspective, people. Holy moly, it drives me insane. And I'm not I don't have a gigantic TV, but it's definitely not small. I know you guys could speak to that. It's like, God, have you never watched Lord of the Rings? You haven't figured it out how they do that with Bilbo Baggins?
Frodo TV, huh?
Yeah,
you can't tweet a picture of yourself in your house without people chiming in on the back. For me, it was like, why you got all those scissors? My kids like to cut, man. My kids like to cut with waves, okay?
Yeah. Stop being weirdos and zooming in on my fiddle leaf thing, whatever it's called. Anyway, Stand with Skeets. Let's get it trending tonight. Hashtag Stand with Skeets is a huge game. I would almost go so far to say it's pivotal, but I'm not yet.
Call it pivotal.
It's a series tonight. If the Raptors lose, they're done. There's no way they're coming back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. That's pivotal then. For the Raptors, at least. Not for the Celtics. That's the thing. See, it's not pivotal for the Celtics.
Can it be pivotal if it's only for one team then?
No, it's just a must-win.
I tell you, my TV's not pivotal. Pivotal.
Wow.
I don't know.
This
It's
team
Saturday.
is unpivotable.
Go Raptors. Sorry to the Beantown boys, but we're obviously cheering on the Raptors here. Okay, let's call it there. Fun Saturday podcast. Thanks for joining us, especially if you joined us live on YouTube. Email us your questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. If you listen to the podcast on iTunes, leave your boys a 5-star rating and review. We would really, really appreciate it. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, folks, Game 4, Celtics Raptors, the first Game 4 that is pivotal in NBA history.
Go Raptors. Embrace the day, people.